We go 8, 7, 6, 5. All right, everybody, we are about to get started with Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Take it away, Cosmic.
All right, so to actually start this run, we're in the memory card management mode on the N64. If you've never seen that mode, to manage your memory card data on an N64, you just hold down the start button on your controller as you're turning the game on, and it opens up that menu. I think that's a menu that very few people have ever seen on an N64. We have to do some quick setup here to actually be ready to start the run. But I do have to run this game with a memory card in, and I do have to reset the settings each time. But we will be racing through all the cups. So, are we ready to count down? I believe we are. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's ride. So the wonderful thing about the N64 Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is that there's quite a few settings to your vehicles. In fact, really, this game is quite a hidden gem on the N64. I think it's one of the best racing games on the N64. And funny enough, it has an incredibly complicated speedrun, pretty similar to a lot of our much more famous racing games. So one thing you saw there was that I turned off the HUD, and that is a lag reduction strat. This game does have some lag reduction strats to get through. The most important thing about this game is that I want to have enough turbos to go around quickly. So you get turbos by doing tricks in the air. Every time you do a trick, you get a turbo. I want to route how many turbos I have at any given time to use them well. And you get turbos by doing large stunts. How turbos actually work in this game is that they take your vehicle back up to its instant top speed. So the frame you use a turbo, you just go full out 100%, and you just stay that way for a brief amount of time. So anytime that I am doing anything that would be making me lose speed, I try to use a turbo so that I don't actually lose speed. So that includes doing things such as turning, landing, going uphill, going downhill because of the way this game is programmed. All of those things that I'm doing, I will make sure to use a turbo to not actually lose speed while doing that. And I will do stunts off of every single ramp to try to maintain a healthy stock of turbos all the time. So we actually went under 55 seconds per lap, so that lap was a little slow. The way this game works is this is the all cups category. We will be playing through all 3 cups that this game has to offer. We are doing it from a fresh, brand new file. So we used to call this actually any percent. We now call it all cups just to avoid confusion. But this is a brand new file, and we will be unlocking everything that we need as we go along, instead of attempting to just, immediately start the game with the best vehicle and go through. We're actually going to unlock vehicles as we go and beat the 3 cups in the game as fast as possible from this brand new file. So yeah, 54.28, that's a really nice lap. This power up here, this orange piston that I'm picking up, I'm trying to pick up on every lap, increases our top speed. I'm using the Red Baron at the moment. It has a top speed of 167. The orange piston turns the power up turns my top speed up to 180, which is awesome. The blue ball there makes it so that your stunts, your revolutions in the air go faster, so you can get more turbos per ramp. All the power-ups only last a little bit of time. the stats that every vehicle has in this game are speed, stunt, control, and durability. If I misland a trick, you will actually blow up. So that is bad, but if you have high durability, then you don't blow up very easy, so you can recover. Um, you top speed, well, obviously, faster is better. Control affects your turning radius and how much speed you actually lose while turning. And on top of that, there is stunt, which is how fast your vehicle can do revolutions in the air. There is an unseen stat in this game, which is four-wheel drive, which four-wheel drive vehicles have worse stats in every way except durability, but they can drive through shortcuts. So the vehicle I'm using right now, the Red Baron, is actually a four-wheel drive vehicle. It's a terrible car, stat-wise, but you've seen that I'm driving through quite a few shortcuts. That saves me a ton of time, so I want to use the best four-wheel drive vehicle I have at this point in the game to get through every shortcut as quickly as possible. But we're almost to the end of this race. All races in Cup mode are 6 laps, so we'll get to the end here really shortly. The second race is by far the most difficult part of the speed run, so I'm going to be a little concentrated in the second race at the start of it. So, sorry about that. I'm not going to have very much to say, but we'll get here very shortly. And there we go. That is the first race down. Time to get on to the second race. 5:27. That's a really nice time. Okay, here we go. Game's loading. That's the second race done. We did it. Yes, okay. Whew. I should mention there's a large RNG manipulation in this game that we're actually doing. So the way this game works is that you have an abort race feature where if you just select abort race, you don't actually complete the race and you take last place instantly. It's really overpowered at the speed run. So what I'm actually doing is manipulating the RNG so that the amount of points the other racers will get in this cup overall will be 48 or less. So what I actually want to do is make sure to get 48 points then. That's pretty easy to do. If we win 4 races, we get 40 points. And if we get last place in 2 races, we'll get 8 more points. That's 48 points, and that is good for the RNG manipulation. And yeah, we win the tournament overall. We win this first cup overall, even though we lose 2 of the races and don't actually even participate in them. So that's a really important thing in the speedrun. Those 2 races, if we were to actually go through them, would waste like 13 minutes. So, you know, getting through them really quick it's a really handy feature. I'm going to take a detour here to pick up that extra car. So in every single track of this game, there are actually 2 hidden vehicles per track, and I made sure to pick up a really handy hidden vehicle that we will use in the next few races because it only takes a very short second to pick up that hidden vehicle, and it saves us a ton of time in upcoming tracks. The vehicle that I just picked up is 4-wheel drive, and it has a very high top speed on top of that, so yeah. The other 2 cups in this game are only 3 races combined. The second cup is 2 races, and the final cup is a single race. So there's no point in doing that RNG manip on those other 2 cups. You just have to race through them as fast as possible. But it obviously saves a ton of time being able to skip 2 of the 6 races in the first cup. This track is incredibly difficult, but it's going really well. The vehicle we're using is actually a 2-wheel drive vehicle, the Power Pipes, but the Power Pipes has really good top speed for beginning vehicles, and on top of that, it has enough control to turn right off the ramp at the start there and get to that shortcut. That shortcut's supposed to be incredibly difficult to get into, but once you memorize the movement, it's not terrible. And we could do a triple front flip and get 4 turbos each time. And in fact, I'm going so fast at this race that I am I'm starting to overlap the other NPCs, the other racers, and it's you can see how much the rubber banding is kicking into effect because the game's like, hey, you're not supposed to overlap other cars. On top of that, I actually set the difficulty to the highest possible, and that's because the more rubber banding and the more cars you overlap, the laggier this game gets, so it saves time to have really high difficulty, so you spend as little time as possible overlapping the other vehicles. So now we're going to use the Rockbuster that we just picked up. As I mentioned earlier, the Rockbuster has a really good top speed. It has a top speed of 173. I don't know what units 173 is, because the game never mentions what units you're racing in, but it has a top speed of 173, which is very high. It has pretty good control, so we don't lose a lot of speed on turns. It's got great stunts, so we get a lot of turbos, and it's 4-wheel drive. 1, 2, 3. That is an incredibly difficult little stunt there. So the fact that it worked is alright, but I am low on turbos, and I am dealing with the other racers just kind of taking me on. So I need to turn off the HUD through this section for lag reduction. And there we go. I've only got 2 turbos and I need to use one at the top of this ramp, so I'm going to drive high on these walls to lose less speed while turning. And going high off the ramp, using a turbo at the very top of the ramp, I'm able to get a UFO instead of just a single trick, and that gets me 2 more turbos. So 1, 2, 3. I use a turbo to get 4 turbos instead of 2. So it's a trade worth it in the end. This track is one of the most complicated to drive. It has quite a few technical tricks to it. And, you know, just having the lag reduction here, remembering to turn off your HUD is important. HUD turning off is up on the C stick, up on the C pad, the C button. And resetting your vehicle, if your vehicle has a dead stop, and causing yourself to just kind of reset is 1, 2, 3, C right. We will be using that quite a bit later. The types of stunts I can do while going off ramps are front flips, back flips, spins, and barrel rolls. So every revolution I do, the first revolution will get me 2 turbos, and then the second revolution will get me 1 turbo, if it is the same revolution. So if you imagine I go off a ramp and I do 2 backflips, first backflip will get me 1 turbo, second backflip will get me a 3rd turbo. But if I do 2 different revolutions off of a ramp, what ends up happening is that both those revolutions will get me 2 turbos. So I can do a spin and a barrel roll, and instead 1, 2, 3, get 3. Oh, that is bad, but that's fine. We didn't get any turbos, but, you know, we'll be fine. And I'll instead get 4 turbos instead of 3. So anywhere that I can do that, I will try to do that. However, it does take more time to do that. And unfortunately, in the majority of places where you're able to do a spin and a barrel roll, you can do 3 backflips, which would also net you 4 turbos. However, in a very, very, very few amount of ramps, you can do 1, 2, 3. You can just get the barrel roll plus spin to get 4 turbos instead of doing and not able to do a triple backflip off the ramp. So doing that, it does save time on a very small amount of ramps. Those amount of ramps that we went to do it on, we tried to do our best. But the spin plus barrel roll is actually a really tight frame window, so it's not something that you do just kind of naturally. But we are on the last lap of this track, and I'm starting to overlap other racers. 1, 2, 3. You can tell whenever I'm overlapping other racers whenever power-ups go missing, because those power-ups have been picked up by racers right ahead of me, because I'm catching up to them. The next track is by far the most technical in the game. However, it will be incredibly fast. I did mention earlier that I can reset the car at any time. We're actually going to do a few glitches with that in the next race. 505, not a great track there, but we'll take it. And we'll go on to our next race. This is the 5th race of 6 in the first cup. And this is Helicrash. Helicrash has some large positional glitches that we could do on every single lap by resetting the car on very certain points. So I want to first go up the wall here and reset the car at the top of the track, at the top of that hill, and I will reset back to the beginning of the track, and that actually saves quite a bit of time the way this track is laid out. So I want to do that every single lap. And it's not a terribly hard trick, but it does take a little bit of concentration. Same thing here. I hit that checkpoint to register that I actually hit the checkpoint, reset the car, and then I'm set backwards, and that saves quite a bit of time. So I'm using the checkpoints and that reset to my advantage a lot in this track. If it wasn't for that, this would be actually one of the longest tracks in the game, but because of that, I can expect 47, 46 second laps, which is really handy. This game has actually had a really interesting speedrun history, because I've been speedrunning this game since 2014. It was the very first speedrun that I routed out by myself, solo. I've routed out quite a few games since then. Since 2014, it's went from this being a solo project of mine to having, I'd say, about 20 runners in our Discord server just for this game. Not for Hot Wheels games in general, just for Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. It's quite an interesting racing game, and all of these little movement just quirks make it a really fun speedrun to just mess with occasionally. And for a strong grind, it's a little difficult because there is some RNG that is really bad at this game, but it is a really nice speedrun. One thing you do need if you are doing this on console is you do absolutely 100%, oh boy, I'm overlapping other races that are driving straight at me, so I'm doing my best to not hit them. Okay, thank goodness I hit the can I make it through? Yeah, thank goodness I hit the checkpoint still. One thing, we do need a memory card. You do need an N64 memory card if you want to speedrun this game. The reason being is that this game doesn't have a battery, so if you don't run it with a memory card, they do try to make sure that you keep your progress. And the way it does that is it gives you a really long Mega Man like code if it realizes that, hey, you don't have a memory card put in. That was a bit rough RNG. This particular track is very bad RNG wise because you can run head on into the other racers, and 9 times out of 10 it will cause you to explode. So we don't want that. And it's very hard to deal with that RNG. But if we run this game with a memory card, then the game will not give you a code at the end of each race to track your progress. And the code's like 20 characters long. It's ridiculously long. And oh my goodness. Well, I can just drive around this way. RNG, baby. RNG. Two, and we'll get a backflip in. Nice. Oh my goodness. RNG, baby. It's a marathon run, that's for sure. Oh, that's good. Oh, please don't hit me, please. Whee! 1, 2, 3. But, running with a memory card will actually save you about 15 seconds per race because the game just doesn't show you the code. So yeah, just make sure to always have a memory card in while playing this game. 1, 2, 3. That is this race done. But here we go. Here's the final race. Hopefully our RNG minute worked, and we still win this cup. We won this cup. We got 48 points. Second place got 42 points. So we still won the cup. So let's move on to the second cup now, shall we? So the game tells us that we unlocked the second cup, which is the Secret Car Cup, and a bunch of new cars. All those new cars that we unlocked are way worse than the Rockbuster, so we're just going to stay with the Rockbuster, And we're going to actually see this track here twice. For some reason, you see this track twice. Yep, HUD off for some lag reduction. That lag's only there until the doors broke down, so we won't have to mess with that on any other future laps. And we get the 540 helicopter through that shortcut, and away we go. The second time we see this track will be very different because we are going to unlock a car that allows us to do some really big glitches on this track in particular. So the second time we do this race, it will be entirely different. But this time, it's pretty intentional. We're going through, break those doors with the HUD off, reduce lag, and we're just driving through as well as possible. This track has quite a bit of technical stunts to it again. You lose all traction in the area that I'm currently driving on, so you kind of ice skate through that, and you have to avoid an instant death buzzsaw while skating on ice. It's really fun. But, we get through it, and we've got more than enough turbo to go through this turn here. Having a good amount of turbo for that turn is really important since, oh, there's one failed stunt. Since, we lose speed while going downhill, and lose speed while going uphill, and lose speed while turning. So that giant turn, yeah, we want to have a good 3 to 4 turbos for that turn to lose as little speed as possible to go through. But that was a little bit of a bad lap. It's fine. You know, at least, ooh. Let's see how well I got through the I got through the saw, even though, you know, the hey car, hey buddy, thank you, even though the rough ground really got me around backwards. But you know, we're back in first place. That's good. I want to do a UFO off this, which is the 360 plus the barrel roll. It didn't work out the first 2 laps, but you know, that lap it worked out finally. And you know, that's us 4 turbos. The way you do a barrel roll is if you just hold the joystick in one direction or the other to the side, you will spin in air like a 360. But if you hold down the R button while doing so, you will instead do a barrel roll. So what we do is we start it, and as soon as we finish the 360, we just start holding the R button, and we'll start doing a barrel roll instead of the 360 spin we were just doing. So I want to get the spin as soon as I leave the ramp and hold the R button, press down the R button as soon as the 360 spin is done. And there we go. That's a UFO 4 turbos instead of 3. Doing a 720 would get us 3, that gets us 4. Okay, so we're on lap 4 of 6. This is going alright. One nice thing about this game, or maybe weird, I don't know, is the music selection of this game. It's got some interesting jams to it. So, like, a large part of the soundtrack is, like, 5-second clips of Primus songs. I've never gotten DMCA over it because it's horribly compressed music files. And it's only 5 seconds, so it never seems to trigger anything. But yeah, it's all Primus music, compressed and and reduced to 5 seconds. It's not just Primus; it's also got Mixmaster Mike, who was the DJ for the Beastie Boys. It's also got Metallica. Yeah, this game does have a very brief clip of Fuel by Metallica. So, you know, give me fuel, give me inside. Da, 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 da. That song. Which makes sense, you know, this is a driving game. If you were to play the PlayStation version of this game, because there is a PlayStation version of this game also instead of the N64 one, yeah, the audio is much better in that. Yeah, you do have to run with audio off. But, you know, this one, we don't have any issues. N64 is superior. N64 also is the only version with that RNG manip that guarantees us to get be able to skip 2 races. So N64 is just superior to speedrun anyway. 2 turbos, and that is this track down, 5:53. Not a great time, but you know, whatever. We won the race, that's the important thing. Okay, here we go. So this is our second to last race in the run. This is one of the worst tracks to drive. This is RM Sludgeworks. And RM Sludgeworks, no, this is RM Test Track, sorry. RM Test Track just has a lot of really uneven geometry that could really mess you up. And it's kind of designed around that way. It's got this aesthetic that it is a test track that nobody's actually supposed to be on. So, like, everything's just goofed up. That makes having really clean driving lines very difficult. But I can just get through some of those. And I'm going to After breaking that box, there is going to be a lot of less lag. That hill is a run killer. The geometry on that hill is very uneven, so you never have any idea what direction your car will actually head as soon as you leave that ramp, which makes it very difficult to keep your speed well through that section. It's pretty much RNG, because the ground is in that particular hill is just entirely random. That loop-de-loop, you lose so much speed over the gap in that loop-de-loop. If you do not turbo over it, you will blow up. So you need to save turbos, not just at speedrun, but just driving this track. This track is meant to be the most difficult one. It's got weird corners, it's got weird ramps. It throws in a little pizzazz right at the end of the speedrun, just a tiny bit of pizzazz. But we're able to, do some nice tricks, get some turbos, just go fast. We do nice. I mean, we're already lap 3 out of 6. So how's everybody doing in chat out there? Have you been enjoying License-thon? I mean, there's a lot of hidden gems in licensed games, am I right? And this is certainly, obviously, one of my favorites. Oh dear. I have no idea what is happening. And I have no turbo left. And I'm in 4th place, it appears. Well, that was interesting. Yeah, rubber banding is very, very evident in this game, but I finally got a very good a trick off a ramp, so I finally went off that ramp correctly. So I have less turbos than I want because this guy has taken my turbos. So yeah, car NG. Just dealing with the other racers it's difficult. Even so, it is faster to have the difficulty set up to the highest possible because just if the run goes smoothly, the amount of time you save from having less lag from overlapping other racers it's like 30 to 40 seconds. So just dealing with it is the best way to go. I'm glad to hear that, Simon Petrikovs. I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce your name. And Vevolusa Virtuoso. I'm glad to hear that you guys have learned all about a bunch of new, really quality games. In my case, I really loved Coca-Cola Kid. I mean, I was expecting Sheriff to run, Barbie instead of Coca-Cola Kid, but, Coca-Cola Kid was pretty nice. Here we go. We're just moving our way through, and we're almost to the end of this track. We're now on the final lap. Okay, I just barely got pushed around. Come on. Oh, car and G, baby. Actually, I got clipped into the wall. I could not control myself any longer. That's something I've never seen before. So now I'm in last place. This is going to be interesting. Oh boy, oh man, car and G really messed with me. And I mean really messed with me. I got clipped into a wall and could no longer control thanks to car and G. So this is going to be This is going to be really difficult. I hope I have enough points to beat this tournament now. I should be able to. Yeah, I got into third. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, I should have enough points. Yep, I won the tournament. So yeah, there we go. That was a little scary. That was almost run over, but we are now finally to the final race. The final race of the speedrun. The final cup is the Twin Mill Challenge. The Twin Mill 1 and 2 are two cars that are perfect, and we just have to beat them on this last track. The Twin Mill 1 has a really big glitch. If you reposition it behind the finish line, it just starts the race at the halfway point of the track. So yeah, like I said, even though we've seen this track before, this second time through the track is going to be way different. We're going to save a lot of time by just repositioning the car every time. We're going to, you know, turn off the HUD for some nice improved lag reduction. Reset the car without passing the finish line but still hitting the checkpoint for the finish line, and there we go. We get through that way faster. So as you can tell, I'm saving a lot of time each lap. I just need to make sure that I never cross the finish line, but just drive just far forward enough that I still trigger the checkpoint. As long as I do that, we do the thing. That's right, we do the thing, Wandering Mind. How you doing? How are you doing? Everybody, you should follow Wandering Mind. She is one of the most amazing speedrunners you will ever meet. So yeah, please, everybody in chat, like, I know this is my speedrun, but like, appreciate my speedrun by following Wandering Mind. She's amazing. Yeah, but we're doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. There we go. We got the UFO down, and we're just trucking along. We are trucking along, and boom. Hey, if it's a licensed game, it works. It works. That's right. I would love to see some Gone. I would love to see some Gone. I'd love to see some headbutting and farting dinosaurs. I think that would fit into this event perfectly. Okay, so we're getting to the end of this track, and I'm starting to overlap the other racers. Even oh yes, I still hit the position right. Okay, that setup is incredibly difficult. So I thought I'd lost and I would have to do that lap regularly, but I must have been pixels away from. Because if your car fully passes the finish line, then your car will reposition itself correctly and just on the finish line instead of skipping half the track. So here we go. Last lap, and if I do this setup right here 6 times, that'll be like perfect. Woo, yeah, baby. We got that skip, we got that glitch, we got the twin mill glitch 6 out of 6 laps. That is pretty spectacular. And we are So get ready on time. Time will be as soon as I cross the finish line. Yeah. And a nice UFO to finish things off. That's all the stunts left. All that's left is to just cross the finish line. And that will be all 3 cups in Hot Wheels Turbo Racing beaten on a brand new save file really fast. Time! 4:29. I think that worked out really nice. Yeah, and you can see how much time we saved. Like, Twin Mill 2 and Twin Mill 1 are set perfectly. And they are set, we are playing the game high difficulty as possible. Full top speed. Against perfect cars, and we beat them by 1 minute and 20 seconds. Yeah, so Cap Falcon has won all 3 cups. Cap Falcon has mad skills. So your reward for beating all 3 cups is that you unlock all the cars that you skipped throughout the game. And yeah, that has been Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed getting to show it off, and I believe what we'll be seeing next is Trolls by the Dude. So enjoy that. Peace out.